Hello, my art family, friends, and students. Today is the last project for May video. I hope to continue them because there is a lot of things I haven't done that I want to show you. This is the project we're going to do today. And I actually did this a long time ago. And I pulled it out. I'm like, that would be a good demo. Pen and ink and watercolor, or if you don't have watercolors, you can use the Crayola crayons and a pen and ink pen. And make sure that the pen and ink pen is permanent, like an ultra fine point Sharpie. So, because if you do the ink first and then do the water on top, it will bleed. So I am going to be sending an email out also. Things are starting to open and I'm wondering how parents feel, if you're comfortable coming to the studio. There would be a lot of changes. The easels and benches have all been pushed, so they're 6 feet apart. I do have the outdoor area too. You know, masks would be required. One way in, one way out. Parents will ask you not to come into the studio. So that'll just alleviate the traffic. So I am ready to start. I could start this month in June, rather mid-June, or I can wait if people feel more comfortable in July. It depends on how many people are interested, and I am happy to oblige to whichever time period. I'm really anxious to get back to the studio, and I miss the kids so much. It's killing me. So you're all probably going to be, of course, older and taller. If I don't recognize you, just, no, I will. So let's get started. And I hope you guys have fun with this one. I really like this project. Okay, here we go. I chose to do it on a smaller piece of paper. First is first. First, we're going to do the drawing, because drawing is always done first. There's a nice horizon line. It looks like it's not in the middle of the page. That would be about the middle. It's a little higher. And then you can draw. So remember, large to small. So all the large things first. Mountain, this line, and then some trees, and maybe where the bushes are. So I'm going to start out with pencil. I'm making my line dark. You should do yours light. This looks like 2. It looks like a volcano. You can do that. Sorry, was I screaming? I hope you guys are laughing and having fun when you're doing your projects. Sometimes, yes, sometimes it's serious work and concentration. So don't forget to break it up a little bit and have fun with your projects and do some happy little trees. I'm sounding like Bob Ross. Okay, I ran out of room for some of them, and I'm not going to put this branch. Now, you erase those out. Same here. And remember the white resist crayon, or you can use a white oil pastel. I probably did this with some acrylic paint. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Watercolors, you can't paint, even though it comes with white for your watercolors, you can't, once something's dark, if this tree had been covered with the blue, dark blue, white, it's a transparent medium, so white, this blue would show through the white, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of my resist on. And looking at the trees, it looks like the light's coming from this direction The giveaway is the tree trunks, but also the shadows are going that direction, the cast shadows. Now if you want to, you can leave white spaces or when you're painting, or you can use this resist also to do this. Kind of press hard. Okay, next, now I can do the pen and ink first, or I can do it later. I'm gonna do it later. It's because it's a permanent marker, I can do it, I have a choice to do it before or after. If it was not a permanent marker, then I would have to do it, the pen and ink, after. Right now, I am mixing a color for the sky. And I just have some Crayon watercolors. And I'm gonna put this sky. Now I could have, with my resist, I could have, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I could have done the clouds too. I didn't think about that until I already started. So I'll just leave some white spaces. I'm gonna put a little darker up here. If you're using the Crayola crayons, remember to use the side. Okay, now I'm gonna get some darker blue water. And I think I'm gonna go through these trees and see what happens. See, my resist is working. As I come down from the horizon, this is called the horizon line. As I come down from there, I'm gonna get lighter. Okay. And the green, I see some different greens, even some yellows, you know, here in the bushes. Now, right now, this is, oops, I got my paper towel. This is wet. So it could make green. Yellow and blue are gonna make green. I'm gonna choose this lighter and see how I like that color. I like it. Could be a little bit darker. And do a wash right here. This didn't really stay yellowish. Now I'm going to get the dark green. Put it on this back mountain. Uh-oh, went into the water by accident. And I'm just doing some back and forth strokes right now. Just because the movement. See where this was, the sky was wet, so that's what they mean when you say one color's bleeding into another one. I'm just gonna lift that off. Don't rub your watercolor paper. It has a tendency to fall apart and peel. Yeah. was at the studio the other day with my girlfriend. I'm so excited because the butcher blocks are finally stained. I got to get back and varnish them. The patio's looking good. So got some new plants going on. I'm very happy. Can't wait for you guys to see it. All right, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Let this dry a little bit before I do some of these things. I'm going to make a gray color. So I'm going to use my blue, maybe a little bit of brown, and do these. Now I need it dark enough to cover some of this blue. I'm going to do a touch of black. And go down and do the shaded side of the tree. Oops. If you want to, it looks like I put a little too much resist, so this won't take any paint. I was going to say you can soften the edge, but it's not going to take any paint because of the resist wax crayon. So I think I just made it a little too fat with the resist, so it won't go on to do these. Maybe on this tree a little bit. Maybe not, a little bit. And then I can take this little bit of black, blue, and the green and make these shadows. I think this is dry enough to do some of the leaves. Now, I'm just going to do them. Hang on. I'm going to hold my brush, see the pointy part? I can do this different directions. Because if you start just doing them all the same direction, it starts to make a pattern, which is, a pattern is more, would look more artificial instead of natural. And then next I'll do the dark green. Sorry, in the background, I have the window open. It sounds like someone's running their car engine. I don't know if you can pick up that noise. I'm going to close the window. It's a little better. Okay, to do the darker leaves, these ones got a little bright. I'm going to wait a little bit. So, well, let me try one, because they just will blend. Oh, it's okay. So I'm turning my hand. Okay, now I'm not using a lot of water right now. It's mostly pigment. Get some darker green. One of the resists went right through the bushes. So that line will stay there. I'm going to soften that edge by just touching the end of it. Oops, it got really big. Okay. So now I need to let it dry a little bit so that I can do the pen and ink. Just do a few more touches. Some of these you can do wet on wet also. Oh, look, now this is wet on dry. My paintbrush is wet. My paper is dry. So that's when it leaves like this strong or hard edge. Instead of blending and blurring like that did, that's wet on wet. Every time you do watercolors, it was a difficult medium for me to learn. I think it's harder to control because it moves very fluid, very liquidy. And so the more I tried to control it, the more frustrated I would get. And so watercolor, you have to realize that I could do this picture 100 times and it's going to turn out 100 different ways. And you get better and better how to work with the medium, but every watercolor I think is unique. And the more I tried to control it, it seems the more frustrating. And so part of it is just a looseness and an attitude that okay, that I'm going to go with it. And then as you continue doing watercolor, you'll have more and more control. This is dry brush when it goes on like that. All right. Now we're ready for the pen and ink. I left my blow dryer in the other room. And I'm going to do, so I'm going to try and figure out where my driest areas are and work there on the edge of this tree. And just kind of some scribbly lines on this side. I did some of the leaves too. Oh, those are wet. So I'll jump back over here. This feels wet too. So not a good idea to put your Sharpie on a wet piece of paper because it'll ruin the Sharpie. Right there, it was touching the water. So I'm lucky that nothing happened. So I'm gonna wait on this guy. And some grass blades going different ways. Here and there. Maybe there's some pebbles and rocks. The closer grass blades, I can't say that, are taller. And the ones that are farther away are going to be shorter. Okay, I'm going to stop the video for a second because I need it to really dry. Okay, I think this is dry enough now to finish doing my pen and ink. I'm doing some shading under the bushes. I should have erased this pencil line and made it lighter. If I go to erase it now, it might rub the paper. See how the paper is peeling? So it's too damp and I will just put leaves over it. Kind of doing some scribbly lines here. Remember we talked about in pen and ink. Just for the shape of some of the leaves on the bushes. And here. Here I'm going to do some hatching. Maybe back here too. Maybe some hatching to make this areas look darker. Now some cross hatching. Some more of these leaves. Notice I'm not being really careful and making it exactly on the green area. It's partially in, partially out. That does not look like a leaf. I guess I should try and make some more, leaf shapes. On that one I did them like they're too perfect. They look like they're floating. On here I could even, to make them look more realistic, kind of put some connecting branches, or not, small branches. That would improve this one. Oh yeah, and I didn't do the other side of this. Now I can put the pen and ink pen over the resist. See how it's going on top of that crayon? My tree went from narrow to fat to narrow again, so okay, what do you think, you guys? I could even add some of this in the water. The thing I like about this one, I like this blue-green shadow, so I'm going to come back in with my watercolor and try and get that effect. There we go. I like that. It's very pretty. Put some dark in there. Okay, and then the last but not least is to finish these trees. And leaves. quiet for a while. I'm just having fun. You know, when you get involved in a project, and I don't know if you can hear the birds and the wind's blowing the palm leaves. That's really nice. Maybe next project I could set up outside. I also like how these ones are long. Not sure it worked so good on that one. Alrighty, I think that's good. So you know where to sign your name when you do yours. Usually artists sign towards the bottom. Sometimes they'll sign along an edge. Don't do it like at school where you sign at the top, because you want the viewer to be drawn into your image, and that would be distracting to have your name large over there. So, and I sign my name. Some people's names are very long, the first and last. So you could easily see if you have a long name and you write with big letters, you could end up going all the way across your page. I found a discreet spot. I think I'll sign right here. And I just put my first initial and last name, and then a little dash for the year. Okay. Thanks for watching. Look for my email about when you want to start classes, and let me know.